Good evening, and I welcome you to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. It's such a pleasure to come your way. If you will recall, we have just about 5 days into a very important event, and I'm making reference to the NPP's internal presidential primaries. And the reason why it is so important is the fact that if you believe in multi-party democracy, then it is of interest for you to be interested again in what happens in the various political parties, because that which makes multi-party democracy successful has to do with the various political parties. You may belong to the NDC, you may belong to the MPP. Of course, it's difficult to mention the other parties because they are literally non-existent. But Ghana, as it stands now, we can only rely on two major political parties, the NDC and the MPP. And they are major because they have the potential of forming the next government. And that is why it is always important to know what happens in those political parties, because internally what happens has a way of directly and indirectly affecting the national governance that we are practicing. And that is why this evening we are going to have a look at what is possibly going to be the outcome as far as this coming Saturday's presidential primaries for the new patriotic party, that is the NPP, is concerned. As always, you can get interactive with us using our social media handles, including the WhatsApp line, which is exhibited on the screen. We will take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the conversation, and I'll also introduce to you the guests that we are going to have to help us appreciate and understand. The question we are asking is very simple. The 2026 NPP 31st January presidential primaries, who will win? Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
The general conduct, I mean, there are things they do. If I was their party leader, I'll condemn.
Okay.
I will not allow them today, because you see, in minority, what you want to do is to try and win the population to your side. Okay. So you must appear, you must have some minimum credibility by the way you conduct business. But if you are seen to be doing things that are not serving any purpose, apart from being of nuisance value, then you lose that credibility. And if you lose that credibility, it will be difficult for you to get the population behind you. If you don't get the population behind you, how do you win elections? I don't want to go further because I don't want them to win the next election.
Ifa kura na menyisika edia ye mefui.
Ehifa pa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kura mabre miye busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yema kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account, ene da so wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ene de akeka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 03422919896. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka owner.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Hello Ghana, payday is here. Stand a chance to win instant cash prizes on Review Scratch for Win, up to 100,000 Ghana cedis to be won today. Get ready to play Review Scratch for Win to win big on TV XYZ. Stop scrolling and start winning. It's simple. Dial *850*6# on all networks. Choose your card type and select your lucky card for a chance to win big. Play with at least 5 Ghana cedis or more. You could win up to 100,000 Ghana cedis in cash prizes instantly. Yes, you heard right. 100,000 Ghana cedis in cash prizes. Don't miss out on the chance to win big. Dial *850 *6 to play now. Review Scratch for Week. Scratch it again. Ladies Casting Pound. You must be 18 years and above to play. Terms and conditions apply. This game is regulated and approved by the NMA and the Caritas Council.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. Natural mineral water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596 273 546 or 0596 273 547. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. As I indicated, this evening's conversation is going to look at the MPP presidential primaries. And the question we are asking ourselves is who is winning or who will win? And the reason why we are taking time to do this, as I said earlier before we went on break, is the fact that as long as multi-party democracy is what we believe in as a country, it is very important for you and I to be so interested in what is happening, especially in the two major political parties. And I'm making reference to the NDC and the NPP. The fact that you belong to NDC shouldn't make you put yourself at a state of saying that, well, whether there's another party or there's no other party, you don't care. No. Same way, the fact that you belong to the NPP shouldn't put you in a state where you say that whatever happens in NDC, you do not care. At the end of the day, whether it's NDC or the NPP, the end game has to do with Mother Ghana. Multi-party democracy, governance is what we are practicing in Ghana. So the question we are asking, as I indicated, and we'll go through slides before we introduce our guest. MPP presidential election, who wins? And that's the question we are asking. There are 5 individuals who are contesting these elections. And according to the arrangement on their ballot paper, as you will see on the 31st of January, that is this coming Saturday, the first on the ballot is Kennedy Ejapon. There's an individual who, per research, our research from Politics and Beyond, suggests some few weaknesses. The first one is that he is perceived as controversial or combative by some senior members. He lacks deep institutional control within party structures, and he may struggle to secure high-level endorsements from cautious power brokers. And indeed, others have also said that if we are tagging the president as the first gentleman, then they find it difficult to believe that he represents that definition of a gentleman. There are so many things that works are against him. And so, but this has to do with his weaknesses. The second one on the ballot has to do with Brian Echampo. And this is a person I have personally said, anytime I see him, he just reminds me of Akufo-Addo. I see Akufo-Addo in him, honestly, for whatever reason. His demeanor, his pomposity, his communication and all that. But, I mean, these are the weaknesses about Brian Echampo. He has a lower national name recognition compared to Bawumia and Kennedy Ejapon. He risks being overshadowed by the two major front runners, and I'm making reference to Bawumia and then Ejapon. They are seen to be the two front runners. The third weakness of this gentleman is that he needs to differentiate himself more clearly from the establishment narrative. Unfortunately, it looks like he has not been able to do that. And so that is the weakness when it comes to Brian Echampo. Then comes the third one on the ballots. Mahamadou Bawumia, Doctor. His Excellency, because he's a former Vice President of Ghana. These are the weaknesses of Mahamadou Bawumia. The first one is that he bears some of the burdens of the MPP's economic challenges. And obviously, all of us know this, that he was presented to us as a country as someone who is having the magic one to turn the economy around. Unfortunately, he couldn't do so. And so that is a weakness. He may face voter fatigue as a long-time establishment figure. And clearly so, he started this thing with the former President Akufo-Addo. And so he has been in the system, campaigning and all that. So that is one weakness. Voter fatigue is one. The other weakness is that he needs to re-energize the grassroots trust beyond elite networks. It looks like he's seen as someone who is more elitist, more than a grassroots person. And so that becomes a weakness. He needs to find a way of, bringing these two together. The bridge between the grassroots and the elites in society. Then comes the other one. He is the fourth on the ballot, and that is Yao Osei Educhum, Doctor. He is also described as honorable because he's a former minister and also a former member of parliament. These are the weaknesses of Yao Osei Educhum. He has a limited grassroots machinery, and that is true. He is not a grassroots person. That is how he is perceived, not a practical politician. The other one is that there's lower public visibility compared to household names in the race. I mean, when you mention Bawumia, probably by the fact that he has been a vice president, he's a household name by majority homes. But Educhum is difficult for us to say that he has that, visibility. The other one has to do with he having the risk of being perceived as overly academic or detached from political realities, and that is the practical thing. So that is also a weakness of Yao Educhum. And clearly speaking, he is more academic than anything. And so when it comes to practical politics, the one that we call grassroots politics, he lacks that touch. And that is the weakness as far as Yao Educhum is concerned. And again, on the ballot is the very last person, Engineer Kwabena Ejapon. Kwabena Ejapon, I mean, a fantastic gentleman by all standard. A fantastic gentleman by all standard, but there are some weaknesses, and just like the others, he has this weaknesses. The first one is that there's limited resources and media presence compared to top contenders. The other one is that there's low appeal among younger delegates who are seeking dynamism. That is there. It looks like his focus is more on the elderly. Then the third one is that he needs a clear breakthrough message to stand out. Unfortunately, it looks like Kwabena Ejapon is not having any message that resonates. It's very difficult for anyone to say that, okay, this message can be associated to Kwabena Ejapon. That is also one of the issues. And so in summary, and to set the ball rolling, these are the 5 candidates that will be appearing on the ballot as far as this Saturday's election, internal elections of the MPP is concerned. And we've just gone through the weaknesses. Today we have 2 guests. The first one is joining us online, and I'm making reference to one person who has, distinguished himself, especially from, he takes that route from the last election. It looks like when it comes to predictions and it comes to understanding of logic and understanding of science and data, as far as elections in this country is concerned, you cannot do without mentioning his name. And I'm making reference to the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, and that is Mr. Musa Dankwa. He has joined us on the line for us to have this conversation. After I'm done with him, we'll come to the studio and I'll introduce to you the guests we have in studio to continue the conversation. Mr. Dankwa, good evening and welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I hope you had a great day.
Not bad, tiring, but we are managing.
I can imagine. That is true. Look, Mr. Dankwa, this evening, our conversation and the question we are posing is very simple. And that is how I want us to start the conversation. We are looking at the NPP's presidential election, which is to take place this coming Saturday. My viewers, including myself, want to know who wins. And that's the question I'm posing to you. Who wins?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I was asking that a very simple question that my viewers want you to help understand and answer is, with regards to the NPP presidential elections, which is going to take place this coming Saturday, who wins the primaries? Hello? Mr. Dankwa, can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Do I need to repeat the question?
No, it's okay.
Very well.
We've been doing this for the past, 5 months or so.
Right.
And we've been tracking the polling numbers, not just who they vote for, but other metrics as well that points to an indication of who might win the election. And for these 5 months consecutive times without polling,
yes,
Baumia has always led. He has always led. And Kennedy has been the candidate behind him. Now, Baumia's lead has averaged 23%. The gap between Baumia and Kennedy has averaged 23%.
Right.
And indeed, if you look at the last poll we released, you have Baumia on the headline poll, 48%, and Kennedy 25%. Again, the gap between Kennedy and Baumia is about 23%. Now, if you go back to 2023, when then we went to primaries and Baumia won with 61%, Kennedy got 37% or so. And that is about 24% gap. If you look at what the gap was in 2023 and the gap per last poll in 2020, it's virtually unchanged. So on this basis, and on the basis of many other things that we say in the poll, we are predicting that Baumia will win the race one time with 57% of the vote, plus or minus 3% margin of error. And Kennedy will be on 28%, plus or minus 3% margin of error. Brian, the last few weeks have made a huge change, and it's now in
the line. Mr. Dankwa, are you there? Mr. Dankwa, are you there?
I think you were hearing me.
Right. Welcome back. Yes. So you were talking about the fact that last week has made a significant change, and from all indication, Dr. Baumia is winning by 57% plus or minus, and followed by Ken. But I want to find out from you. That was last week. Between now and 31st, that is this coming Saturday, is there a possibility that there can be a change, a significant change, where this forecast may change and one other person may overtake the one who is currently leading, that is Baumia?
In polling, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
You don't really come from nowhere and then begin to overtake the race leader, unless there's a scandal around that race leader. We haven't seen any scandal around Baumia, so this lead will be maintained. My fear is the numbers of Kennedy and Brian Campbell, who appear to be trading between themselves. If Kennedy continues to drop the polls, and the number will go to Brian, and Brian would outperform than we are telling the public. But it's also possible that everything in the poll can be stop, and gain some grounds. But the grounds he will gain, it will not come from Baumia, they come from Brian. So we are very confident about Baumia's numbers, not so much about Eddie and Brian, because the numbers are very fluid.
Will you be kind enough to let us know what is causing Dr. Bawumia to be in this lead? What are the factors? What exactly is causing, has become the yardstick for which we can confidently conclude from your research that Dr. Bawumia is winning, and not just winning, but winning significantly by 57%? What are some of the variables? What caused this?
Look, there are two issues here. First, is the belief that if you prepare a candidate for the second time, as a party, that candidate tends to do well on the second attempt. MPP delegates appear to have bought this notion. So 45% of MPP delegates believe that if you bring a candidate for the second time, it helps the party's chances. 23% of them disagreed, and 32% were indifferent, were neutral about that. Here, majority of the delegates believe that second chance for candidate helps the party win the election. And in these primaries, there is only one person who fits the second chance, that is Bawumia. Number two, we did ask them several factors that they will consider when they are selecting the candidate. Among them, as well, somebody who can unite the party, somebody who gets the grassroots, somebody who can win the election for them, somebody who can bring a change, somebody who is humble.
Are you with me, sir? Mr. Dankwa, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Dankwa. If you can kindly position yourself well. Okay, it looks like we are having challenges with Mr. Dankwa. My producers will fix it, and then we'll continue the conversation. But whilst we wait to continue the conversation with Mr. Dankwa, we also have an in-studio guest, a very young man, a youth activist, and he's Yusuf Gbande, a member of the National Communications Team of the NPP. Mr. Gbande, why do you relate the NDC Gbande? That's your senior brother. Oh, okay, so the strategy is one goes here, right? Welcome to Politics and Beyond. I hope you had a good day. Right. So we'll come back to you. Let me go back to the line and then have a conversation. Mr. Dankwa, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Musa Dankwa, can you hear me? All right. It looks like we are having some challenges with Mr. Dankwa, but I'm sure we'll get him back, and then we can continue the conversation. Let me come back to Mr. Gbande. Mr. Gbande, so I asked earlier on whether you have any relation with the NDC Gbande. Dankwa. Mr. Dankwa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very well. So welcome back. So we're still talking. I don't know whether you were done with the submission before I moved to the next question.
I was giving you the reasons why he's leading.
Very well. Yes.
The first one I said because 45% of MPP delegates believe that bringing a candidate for the second time helps. They believe that is well marketed. It will enhance the party's chances.
That's right. And the second one. The network is really not helping us. It's not helping us. Sorry about that, but I'm sure when we get him back, we'll continue with it. Yusuf, so I was talking about Mr. Dankwa.
Yeah.
He talks about the fact that we have 57% going to come from the one who will win.
Yeah.
And that is Bawumia.
Yeah.
As a member of the NPP, are you surprised that this prediction has come?
First of all, a very good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners across the country, and a Merry Christmas to them. It's my first time on this show.
Very well, yes.
And a very good evening to the leadership of the MPP, our delegates across the country, presidential aspirants, and the members of the party reconciliation team, the party elections committee, the security team, and everybody. Kudos to everybody who had been contributing so far to the progress of our party.
Great.
And back to the question you just asked, I am not surprised that this is the results Leonard Musa Dankwa is giving us. If you look at some of the issues he laid bare concerning reasons why a candidate that is perceived to be getting this percentage is likely going to get those percentages, he mentioned issues on the repetition of a candidate.
Yes.
If we will be honest to ourselves, Mr. Mahmoud Baumia, having appeared after his service at the Bank of Ghana and having gained the belief of the then flag bearer, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and being called on board to serve as his running mate, they went for election, I think, 2-3 consecutive times. They couldn't win. And along the line, Ghanaians believed in them and gave them the opportunity to come and serve. In the course of service, Dr. Baumia had contributed significantly to our campaign in 2016. Eventually, when we got the opportunity to serve, he contributed significantly to the progress of the government of the day. And if you go everywhere across the country now and mention the name Baumia, it is no longer a strange name. Even you go to the northern region, you go to the upper east, the OT regions and Volta, the northern region, the central, Dr. Baumia has become a household name. And for that reason, we are of the school of thought that it will be okay to repeat a candidate who had shown his face most times on the political market. Apart from that, Dr. Baumia himself has distinguished himself in so many ways. If it comes to humility, if it comes to personality and human relation, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia stands tall among all the 5 other aspirants, despite the fact that they also have their strengths in one way or the other. You look at somebody like Mr. Edichum, who was the former education minister.
Yes.
His significant contribution on the issues of free SHS and the structuring of our education reforms and so on. These are all fine gentlemen. You look at Mr. Kwabene Japan, who was once a former Deputy General, I think General Secretary, of the party until his suspension and all that. Anytime you listen to people of this caliber, you know that our party had the men, just like His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa said some time ago. We really have the men. You know, we lost track along the line because of greed, because people decided to personalize their interests and forget about the bigger picture. And so we all had to bear the effect of whatever transpired during our era in government. But some individuals have distinguished themselves. I would think if opportunity is given to such people, they will vindicate our party. They will be marketable. There are people who don't have too much questions around them. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia had served as a vice president. And up till now, NDC had looked out for everywhere to look for a loophole where they can nail him and even tag him with corruption. And because they couldn't succeed in all this, they have now resorted to calling him a liar. And when you ask them, what has Dr. Mahmoud Baumia lied about? Nobody can prove anything. So I am not surprised that Mr. Musa Dankwa, who consistently, you know, when it comes to issues of polls, many people, having got myself in the political environment, had got to see people like Ben Efson, who used to have strong predictions on election results and all that. You know, it is about time and season. Now, if your research does not give a clear picture of what you project, at the end of the day, you lose credibility. And when you come giving us such predictions, we do not believe in them. And so Mr. Musa Dankwa along the line had distinguished himself. If you look at the elections around 2020 and 2024, all his predictions had come to pass and give you more or less accurate results on what he predicted. And so he is not somebody who will bring out a research findings and he will sit elsewhere and say you don't believe in it just because it doesn't favor your interest or your candidate. if people are saying that they now believe in prophecy and believe that the prediction of pastors is rather what is going to give them their results, then they are peddling falsehood. Because if you claim to be a business-oriented person, and that when you come, you had already started businesses and you will give people jobs. Meanwhile, your workers in your companies are living in a deplorable state. They can't fend for themselves, and you are the same person walking around and promising people that once we get the opportunity, you are going to help them. And you see, you in business, it is a matter of reality. So it's a science and data something. It is not about prophecy and conjuring and miracles. And you are the businessman who is promising us that once you come, you are working with science and data to change the face of the Ghanaian economy. Meanwhile, a researcher brings out findings based on data and analysis. And you say, I don't believe in that one, but I rather believe in the prophecies and predictions of pastors. This is pure hypocrisy, and it doesn't hold water. And so I believe that at the end of the day, if everybody will agree with me, our delegates across the country who have listened to the 5 gentlemen who have presented themselves to be elected as flag bearers of the MPP should all agree with us that it is not about an individual interest. President Nana Akufo-Addo, former President Nana Akufo-Addo mentioned when we had our peace patch signing ceremony, and he said that the party is bigger and beyond individual interests. The MPP as a political party is bigger than any individual. And so if we are thinking about the future of this party, then we should be looking out for an individual whose character, whose demeanor and track record shows clearly that if we should present him again or show him, market him to the Ghanaian people, they will like to buy him. Because you see, looking at some of the contributions of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the previous government, today, the NDC had emulated a lot of policies Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia brought on board.
Before we continue with that, there's one thing that you mentioned which is of interest to me. And that has to do with a tag.
Yeah.
Indeed. There has been a strong tag that Bawumia, and I'm limiting it to Bawumia because the prediction, the polls, says that Bawumia is the one leading. And I'll even add one poll that came from, I don't know whether you guys have seen it, but this is coming from a very good friend of mine, Dr. Abiri, Department of Accounting and Finance, Bogatanga Technical University. And they have also conducted a poll. They call it the Zoko Political Polls. Their prediction, according to the polls, is that Bawumia will win with a percentage of 51%. Ken will have 28%. Others will have 11%. And those who have not decided, 10%. So from this poll, even the undecided 10%, if all decide at the last minute to go with the second runner-up at the poll, that is Kennedy, Bawumia will still be in the lead. This is a gentleman, or this is a person that has been described as one of the tag is the fact that he has lied so many times. And Kennedy has even indicated that, I think somewhere last week. How does that play? I mean, there's a person who is going to win per the polls. A person who has been described as a liar. Over and over, even by your own internal political system. Described him as such. Assuming he wins, how do you guys intend rebranding him? I mean,
Anyway, so very good evening to Doctor, wherever he is. These are some of the credible, polls we would always want to rely on.
Dr. Abiri.
Yes, is one of the distinguished researchers I give so much respect to.
Right.
Like you indeed mentioned, I earlier mentioned in my statement that they've looked elsewhere for a tag or a loophole to nail Dr. Bawumia, and never found anything. And so what people resorted to is calling him a liar. And this tag had remained. You see, they would want to always push a perception consistently so it becomes a reality. But there are people you can tag with certain things, and once you fuel it for a while, it will look like that is the reality. But when you look at somebody like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, anytime you make an effort to want to implicate him, he gives himself reason not to be doubted. What did they say he lied about? The man had never stood anywhere to say that our former presidential aspirant, I think Dr. Edu Buahini, was not part of the next post because of health issues.
Yes.
It was a statement made casually by our learned senior, the former majority leader, Chairman Sabonsu.
Right.
And so if you would want to have any conversation at all, it should be stated factually that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said that, and you quote him, but not to pick a statement made by somebody and stand on your platform where learned delegates are listening to who had more insight and history records of our party, more than even you, the one who is a presidential aspirant. Some people were in this party even before Mr. Kennedy Japan got into the party,
right,
and had been a great beneficiary of the juicy contracts in our party, got the opportunity to benefit all the juicy things that comes with governance. And I want to think that it is not out of bitterness you would want to destroy your brother in an internal contest. And so if you said that he lied, and the statement you are tagging him with is not being said by him, the right thing that one should have done was to come up publicly and apologize to him. But Senior Ejapon never did, and had caused his followers to continue to peddle this falsehood. Meanwhile, the reality is that whatever you are tagging the gentleman with, he doesn't know anything about it. And so this had even affected his internal campaign team. The day he made this press conference, if you check the numbers of the people who declared and endorsed his candidature, most of them withdrew because they couldn't follow somebody who brings out issues that are not based on fact and research, and only based on emotions and based on pain and hatred. So the tag of a liar is not something we would even suffer to want to claim. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had given himself so many reasons and had proven to Ghanaians that he's not a liar. He hadn't lied about anything. This is a gentleman who thought that we had resources in this country. Our resources are not giving us the benefit we should get as Ghanaians. And so in his own wisdom as an economist, he's proposing that we exchange our gold resources for fuel products at a point where fuel prices were very high. And so when the NDC came to power, this is a policy they had to convert in some other way, for, if you like, lack of a better word, rename it, and got their gold bought, and never sent appreciation to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So this gentleman had distinguished himself in so many ways. And if you call such a person a liar, the Ghanaian people are watching and they know you are lying.
Interestingly, this election has to do with the internal members. It's not really about the entirety of Ghana. And so when you are done with the primaries, then we can discuss national issues. But currently we are looking at the internal
interest.
And the questions should be, or the answers or responses should be targeting
the audience
internally. That should be the interest here. Now, if you look at, and I wish my producer would give us the slide of Bawumia. I want us to look at something on Bawumia. So this is it. These are the weaknesses.
Okay.
There's one that is of interest, the very third one. It needs to re-energize grassroots trust beyond elite network. One of the things or weaknesses of Mahamudu Bawumia is the fact that he is not really a grassroots person. He is more elite. He doesn't understand grassroots politics and practicality. Most of the delegates are grassroots members. How is he able to strengthen himself as far as this weakness is concerned?
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, if you say needs to re-energize grassroots trust beyond elite networks, well, to some extent, I would want to agree with you, but that is a weakness of a candidate. Compared to a person who says he's a grassroots person, yet had denigrated and insulted almost every institution in this country, had attacked the Christendom, had attacked women. Women are the backbone of this country in many ways. And if you like, they have the larger numbers. And if any political party is looking at how to map up numbers for an election, and you have somebody who had already denigrated the people with a larger number, being the women,
Yeah.
And you want to compare him to someone who is learned, very humble, very articulate, and honest, to a person who had already, the race hasn't started, but he has already lost about 20% of the numbers. So it is neither here nor there. You cannot compare any of the other four aspirants to the caliber of a person Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is.
Right.
Yeah.
The other one, still on the weakness, is that he bears some of the burden of the MPP's economic challenges.
Yeah.
And truly,
it's a fact.
It is one of the major.
It's a fact.
Major issue. How is he navigating that?
Well, it is obvious. You see, you cannot throw the baby and the water away. Once you want to carry the positive aspect, you would also carry the negative aspect. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, from the findings, says that he has to bear some of the burdens of the New Patriotic Party when we were in government. He was, if you like, invited into MPP to join his boss during the 2016 election, based on the fact that we all believed and knew for a fact that he was an economic wizard.
Right.
Along the line, he contributed his quota to the management of the economy. I just mentioned some of the policies he assisted with. The introduction of the, the national identification card, the introduction of electronic buses. Today, if you look at the larger picture of transport in this country, it's an eyesore, where women will have to wake up in the morning and come in queue looking for a bus to go to work and cannot get. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia thought that ahead of time, let us have this kind of electric buses, because our modern Ghana or our modern world is transforming into EV. And so we have these buses that will be carrying us at a low cost and convenient for every passenger. So some of these things were the things she brought on board. But along the line, the introduction, we all knew that we had to go out of power because of issues more relying on the introduction of the e-levy, the fact that the CD had been skyrocketing and we couldn't control it. And, you know, they were working in a team. Nobody could say that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the sole cause of the reason why we lost our 2024 elections. And so some of the policies that we rolled out as a government that he also was part of would have to be some of the things he will defend, because he was the economic management, the leader of the economic management team. And so everybody would be right to accuse him and say that he was part of the failed government, our government. But then he has distinguished himself as it stands among the 5 other aspirants. If it comes to issues of policy, some of the aspirants are even walking around without a message, and they are only telling people vote for me, and they haven't shown track record. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying that once he wins as a flag bearer of the MPP, his character and demeanor alone is about 30% for the party already. His popularity on the tickets of the Ghanaian political space is also going to add some 20% to him. And his policies and goodwill for the people of Ghana will add the rest of the +1, and he will become victorious in the 2028 election. He is not a difficult person we have to manage. He wouldn't have to be tamed. He wouldn't be somebody who will come into a peace patch signing and end up saying that he wasn't going to sign because he didn't understand some of the clauses that he had read several times and knew about, and now come to the public place where we are supposed to be making peace, and he says, I don't agree. Even if you don't agree, on camera too, you cannot hide your emotions and let us have this peace patch signing. And you have to demonstrate to Ghanaians that in the event that even internally you don't win an election, there's going to be chaos. Compared to a person that went into an election, the general election, conceding an electoral failure is not a joke. If you look at the 2016 election, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama lost to Nana Akufo-Addo, up till today, Mr. Mahama never called to congratulate Nana Akufo-Addo, because it's a difficult thing to do, to accept that I lost election. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia thought about the bigger picture and said that no, I wouldn't want to sit down and let my people run into the street and destroy properties. I would rather have to protect the peace of this country and the democracy we've enjoyed over the period, and had to call his other contender and tell him that at this moment, having gathered his coalition papers and the documents and figures ready, he's lost the election, and that he concedes defeat. Compared to somebody who internally, let's protect our party, he is already saying that if he doesn't go his way, if he goes to cause chaos, and at the end of the day, does not sit down and watch and collate his papers well, and come and see that he got 140 somewhere and they gave him 14, yet he never went to court to seek redress up till today. That when they finish the internal election, it doesn't go his way, it will be chaos.
What are the messages Bawumia is giving to delegates? What are his messages to delegates?
Dr. Bawumia is saying that, he wouldn't want to say that he is a saint and that the failure of our party or the loss of our elections, he wasn't part of it. He accepts the fact that we didn't treat our people well, even within our party itself. There was a time when even people who had worked so much for our party goes to places or institutions to seek for favors, and people there had decided to monetize it. Come and take a national service posting, then it becomes an issue.
You have to pay for it.
Of course. Grassroots persons who had worked, people in the tertiary institutions, the best you can do to help them most times is to put them at places that even the NDC is doing it. Put them at places that are strategic enough for them to also do their national service and be confident that once we are in government, these are some of the benefits I will get. I got to a point that even national service posting, people were not getting. The placement of teachers in schools to go and teach, or the GES posting. These were some of the benefits that basically every grassroots person will be looking at enjoying after they are done with college. But then, at one point, we were in government, but we were treated as if we were in opposition. But he accepts all this responsibility. He's not a weak leader who will run from his weaknesses. And so he accepts that we were not fair with our people. But then, if he is given the opportunity as Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but not as an apprentice or a mate to a driver, and now he has to be the one to lead the course, he will ensure that whatever benefits and proceeds that are in government will not be shared among the big wings, but then it will descend down to the party grassroots. That is why he's saying that once he becomes the flag bearer and eventually the president of this country, the appointment of people in government, he will allocate 10% slots to every constituency across board, so that the young man who had also gone to champion the cause of the party along the line can be employed and become, if you like, National Service Secretariat Director at the district level, can become a presidential staffer.
Right.
Unlike Mr. John Dramani Mahama, who had said he was going to give Ghanaians a lean government, and ended up employing and giving appointments to his regional organizers to become CEDO, if you like it, deputy regional ministers.
I told you that it will be good to concentrate on delegates.
I do understand.
Instead of national conversation, because that will not lead your campaign very well. So then, let's concentrate on messages given to delegates. That is what I want you to concentrate on.
Very well.
The first one is that you are going to treat the delegates well.
Okay.
By giving them 10%
of the slots of recruitment.
What is the next thing?
We will decentralize the benefits of government opportunities to all grassroots. We will not say that because you are wearing a white dress and you are fair, you deserve to be at this place. And because you are Mr. A or B son or daughter, you deserve this place. And a young man who is from the Karachi East constituency, who doesn't know the chief of staff, does not deserve to be appointed. And it will become an issue of who knows who. He will not pretend over such leadership, but he will ensure that the grass would benefit directly from him as the president by including everybody in his governance. And there's going to be a welfare package for, if you like it, our party faithfuls who work so much to assist the party. And he will ensure that everybody is included in his government, and he won't be a selective kind of leader. So if you ask, these are some of the messages.
There are some strengths that the various candidates have. I want to go through it, and then we can probably be nearing the closure of the conversation. When it comes to Kennedy Japan, the first strength is that he's exceptionally grassroots popularity. I mean, he has an exceptional grassroots popularity and charisma. He's perceived to be financially independent. and has a strong personal brand recognition. He's seen as bold, authentic, and relatable to ordinary party members. All right?
Yeah.
And this reminds me of the weakness we talked about with Baumia, who seems to be more of the elites than the grassroots. If you come to Brian Champon, the one I have said that anytime I see him, he reminds me of Akufo-Addo. It's like an Akufo-Addo reincarnate, you know, his posture, his pomposity and all that. But that is really for another day to have a conversation. So Brian Champon's strength. Yeah. He has a strong administrative and governance experience. Yeah. He is well-resourced with robust constituency networks. He appeals to the middle-level party officials, seeking balance between old and new leadership. That is his strength. We come to Muhammadu Baumia. He's on the third. Yeah. His strength, he has a highest national name recognition and experience in executive leadership. Clearly so, because he has been a vice president. In terms of name recognition, it is also obvious because he has been a vice president. Then the other one is that he has a strong institutional support and campaign resources. Institutional support. The third one, and the institutional support includes the party structures. I mean, they seem to be supporting him. The other one is that he has the ability to project a technocratic and visionary image. Image is different from reality, but that is the strength. You know, in politics, perception is everything. Then comes Educhum, his strength. He's a technocrat. I mean, he has a technocratic reputation and proven track record in education. He appeals to professionals and policy-driven delegates. He has a fresh image untainted by intra-party controversies. And I think clearly it is so, because he hasn't really been with the system for a very long time. You know, he came in from outside the country. So when it comes to playing the gutter politics, as we will say, he hasn't had that exposure. So he will have that fresh image untainted by intra-party controversies. Then we have the very last one, my own friend, Kwabena Ejapon. His strength, deep institutional knowledge, obviously, as a former NPP General Secretary. He has respect for experience and calm leadership. That is very true. So he has that calm demeanor around himself. And then finally, he's seen as a credible voice for unity and reform. Now, I will start with, I'll be starting the end with, because we are getting to the end of the conversation. We will start with the end. On the issue of unity and reform, that didn't come out from the surveys and the works that were done as a strength of Akufo-Addo. How did I say Akufo-Addo? Strength of Baumia. It is actually a strength of Kwabena Ejapon. How is he convincing delegates that whether you like it or not, your party is really, really disintegrated? How is he convincing delegates that he's able to unite the delegates if they should give him the nod?
You know, I will, as usual, not lie about anything. All the 5 gentlemen who had shown up for this election are very well meaning Ghanaians, if you like it. First of all, they have something unique in them, and they've served in different portfolios in this country before. By virtue of that, we can say all of them had good track records. But then we are going into an internal contest where, at the end of the day, if the party accepts the person, we'd have to look at how Ghanaians would also accept the person.
Right.
And how easy it will be to, if you like, whitewash that person based on his previous sins. Because whether you like it or not, every aspirant had his positive aspect and the negative aspect. If you look at Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and his track records, even reading from the advantages you said he had over other aspirants, we are looking at somebody whose demeanor and character unites automatically. if you look at a point where it became very tense, there were utterances from other aspirants that were clearly insults and personal attacks on him. He looked at the bigger picture and thought that no, the party needs unity after election. And all this, my brothers, I'm contesting with.
Yes.
Once we are done with the internal contest, I will need them on board to support in the national campaign. And so there was no point to want to attack any of them, but rather focus on what message he has for the delegates. And so we accept the responsibilities that things could have been bad one way or the other. But then the personality of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is unquestionable as compared to some other ones among them. But then in general picture, we have very fine gentlemen who had distinguished themselves in so many ways and would sit well when we present them to the Ghanaian people. But as it stands, looking at where we find our party now, we need somebody who's a unifier. We need somebody who can be independently minded, somebody who cannot be controlled by, if you like, any external forces, a man of vision, who is marketable enough, and someone who rallies other people behind him to want to attain some results. And so if you read some of the advantages, I'm not sure we accept them, we accept the weaknesses as well. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stands tall among all the other five.
Very well. I'll come to you to wrap up. Let me just go through one or two of the messages because we don't have much time and we've had a lot of messages coming. This one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. If MPP want to win the 2028 elections, then they should consider Dr. Educhum. And this is coming from Sule, my own friend Sule from Jache Pram. So Sule, it's been a while.
Opinion, but not at this
Very
point.
well. So there are other messages coming through. I'll quickly go to one of the authors. Say, this program is very perfect on my side, and I think I have learned a lot, right? This one says, I love your show. It's really great and amazing. You didn't add your name. My name is Benjamin from Accra. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for the good work. Great. This one says, I am Kevin from WA. God bless you, and I'm watching you live. Okay, so as I indicated, a lot of messages are coming, but it looks like most of them are talking about Bawumia coming. A few are talking about Educhum coming in. No one seems to be talking about Kennedy and the rest, but that is also fine. So, Yusuf, we have just about 5 days to the general, your primaries.
Yeah.
So you may want to call it general internal
election.
You have just about 5 days to it.
Yeah.
What should delegates stand on to make a final decision, even though from all indication and from, I'm not interested in what God has said.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to politics, I'm a Christian,
the
but
prophecy
I'm
aspect
not
of it.
really, I believe in science and data when
Sure.
it comes to elections of this nature. And so I want to rely on what individuals like Dr. Abiri and then my brother Musa Dankwa has done. And they are indicating that Bawumia is leading.
Yeah.
One says 51%, another one says 57%.
Yeah.
But from all indication, Bawumia is the one leading. What should delegates stand on to vote this coming Saturday?
Very well. A very good evening once again to our delegates across the country, our party leadership, the national acting national chairman, Chairman Bute, is national organizer Henry Nana Boachi, the party's elections committee headed by learned lawyer Joseph Owusu, the Wise, and the leader of the reconciliation team, the former chief of staff, Madame Frima Opari, and our party leadership from grassroots, from polling station to national. A very good evening to our old executives. Very good evening to our own people, TESCON. I am sure they are also voting. A number of them had been added recently based on a request from the senior MP for Ejisu. And so TESCON is voting. In the larger picture, we are going into our national election. A party has a tradition.
Yes.
We have the Dankwa, Dombo, Busia tradition. This tradition had never been diverted, and we shouldn't be the people to divert it. Apart from that, we are looking at how to elect a person we can present to Ghanaians to vote on. If you look at the state of our economy today, where farmers are crying and asking for buyers of their proceeds and cannot get. They say the dollar is gone down, which is accepted, but it's not reflecting in the pockets of the Ghanaian people. And so we are living in a cosmetic economy where they promise you that things are well, but it is not reflecting in your life. They say the price of fuel is down, meanwhile our transport is still up. The price of commodities that are supposed to go down are not going down, even though they claim the economy is good. We will need a person who is visionary enough and will drive the entire country along and will want to bring a change in our political landscape. A person that we can market internally, a person who is a unifier and had left a track record of his humility, his diligence on duty all the time, his inclusion of all manner of people. He's not somebody who is looking at, he's an Ashanti, I'm an ordinary, I can't work with him. I am from Mamprusi and he is from Kusasi, I cannot work with him. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia does not care about where you come from or where you are. Once you have something good to bring to the table, he is willing to accept you. He is willing to work with you. And so if we are going into the polls, yes, it is part of the processes that people will come and campaign. They've listened to all the 5 aspirants who had come to sell themselves to the party people to vote for them. But in their hearts and in their minds, I know that their minds are made up. If I listen to the calls we had with some of the delegates along the line, it is obvious that their minds are made up. And it is not a cooked victory, but it is a victory that will bring hope to the youth and will heal some of the party grassroots who feel that this is the time to have one of our own, a young man, a visionary leader who will represent us and become the president of this country along the line. And so if they are going to the polls to cast their votes on 31st January, they should come out on time. Let us do it nicely. Let us unite again. It is another opportunity for us to meet with people we've never met for a time. Those of us who are in Accra or in the cities but come from the constituencies down there, we should all move back to our constituencies and reunite with our people. Let's speak to each other. Let's apologize to each other if there's a need to. And once we do that, we reunite again. And at the end of the day, as for the victory, everybody knows, and everybody who is sitting afar even knows, including the NDC, knows that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will emerge as a winner. And so it will not be a surprise to me that if at the end of the polls, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia becomes the leader. In terms of security, we'll beg everybody, our Muslim brothers, if anybody comes to you and tell you that on the day of election, go and sacrifice your future and your family and go and orchestrate any form of violence during the election, tell the person that you are interested in your growth, you are interested in the future and your family, and that you are not going to be involved in some activities of a nature.
Very well.
Once you exercise your franchise, you should go back home and rest. If it is time to count the outcome,
you come and then join
the process.
And then whoever wins, you all celebrate quietly.
We will want to witness an election where there is no violence.
That's right. Very
peaceful
important.
Process, and a kind of process that by the time we are done, MPP will look attractive again. At the end of the day, it is one MPP, and that is what runs through our blood. No matter what an NDC person will present to us, we still love our party and we'll stand for this party. And so a very good evening to all of them, and especially my people of Oti region and the Karachi East constituency. And a very happy birthday to my brother Sedom, a grassroots person from Oti region who's celebrating his birthday.
Bande Yusuf, thank you so much for coming. It's a privilege to have a young guy coming to the stage.
You're welcome.
I think you are one of the youngest that have come in. I mean, since we started, and I'm impressed so far. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyway, so I mean, we're just having that conversation. It's unfortunate that we couldn't have Musa Dankwa to finish the conversation with us, but I'm sure between now and the how do we call it, 31st, that is this Saturday, this platform that is TVXYZ will give him a platform for us to discuss extensively his findings and sealing all the predictions that he has made. Don't tune your station off this platform, because TVXYZ will always give you the best. Before I wrap up, it is important for us to know that, and I indicated this earlier, multi-party democracy hinges on parties. And that's why it's called multi-party. It hinges on parties. I do not wish evil for any political party, especially the main opposition party, the NPP, because NDC in office obviously need a formidable opposition. If for nothing at all, that is one thing that the national chairman of the NDC has taught me, that for the sake of Ghana, it is always important for us to have a formidable, not a weak, a formidable opposition. And that is why we take keen interest in what happens in other political parties, particularly the NPP political party, because it is the largest second political party as we speak now in this country. He gave an advice. I played it earlier, and I want to sign off by letting you all listen to it again. I'm making reference to Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketiah's advice to the opposition as they prepare into this election and even beyond. After the video played, that will be it, and that will end this evening's conversation. And so till we meet again next week, same time, all I can say for now is good night, and I'm still your host, Emmanuel Wilson Jr. Listen to Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketiah.
The general conduct, I mean, there are things they do. If I was their party leader, I'll condemn. Okay. I will not allow them to do it, because you see, in minority, what you want to do is to try and win the population to your side. Okay. So you must appear, you must have some minimum credibility by the way you conduct business. But if you are seen to be doing things that are not serving any purpose, apart from being of nuisance value, then you lose that credibility. And if you lose that credibility, it will be difficult for you to get the population behind you. If you don't get the population behind you, how do you win elections? I don't want to go further because I don't want them to win the next election.